Good morning all. In this video I'll be showing you, and this is a substation. Actually is a 220 kV air insulated substation. As you can see, the CT is located here, and there is also the CT, and the breaker is located at the side. But our purpose here is to actually see, in every switch yard, electrical substations, you have these small stones, pebbles, gravels we call. And this may be a good interview questions for diploma holders or BTech or MTech degree holders in interview. So these are used in all substations, in fact, globally. So why are we using these? The purpose, there is a reason for that. For example, these actually, when we use these gravels, because of the high resistivity of this is about 5,000 ohmmeter, so they actually increase the tower footing resistance. There, as you see the tower there, means if it increases the resistance between the tower and the where you are standing, because if these gravels are not there, then if you directly stand on the ground and because of induction, if you touch the tower, then you will get a huge electric shock because your feet are directly touching the ground. But because of these stones, they act as insulation. You are standing on these stones, then they act as insulation. Because of high resistivity, you'll be protected from a short circuit current. So the first thing they do, the function of these gravel, the first thing they do is that they increase the tower footing resistance, you can say. And number two, they reduce the step potentials and touch potential. Step potential and touch potentials, as the name suggests, that is because of, for example, of earth fall or of some conductor falls on the ground. Then as you see that if at that point of contact where it touches the ground, for example in our case this is a 220 kV, then at that point when it touches, it's a 220 kV voltage there. So, and the voltage keep on reducing in steps. For example, it keeps on reducing from 220 kV in a circle. You might be knowing about step voltage, and then that is actually dangerous for a person who by mistake stand on that the point of contact or nearby the point of contact. So to protect that, we are using gravels. And the touch potential, because these are all electrical equipments that they may have, in case of short circuit, maybe they have a voltage, and if by mistake you touch the person working here, then he'll get electric shock. So in order to protect that, we are providing these gravels. Will act as insulation and ultimately protect you from electric shock. And the third thing is that they provide high resistance between the foot and the ground where you are standing. And another thing is that when you are providing these, they actually control the unwanted vegetation. For example, this is a vegetation which has actually grown, but these need to be, had this gravel not been there, you would have seen lots of vegetation. You see, as this is also growing, but this will be actually taken out once a cleaner came. They'll clean this, they'll pluck all these unwanted vegetation. These are actually not required in a substation. So had this gravel not been there, you would have seen a lot of vegetation just like that jungle. But because of the presence of these gravel, it is being controlled. Even though we cannot actually stop 100%, but somehow we are able to actually stop to a large extent the growth of weeds and plant. And one thing which is also to be understood is that when it rains, the soil may get wet. That's why we are keeping this. Even though when it rains, the soil will be absorbed inside, and then it will keep the surface actually dry. And that is what is needed in a substation, because if it's wet, then it may be dangerous for someone who actually stand here and by mistake touch some of the equipment. So that is one thing that, and also the other advantage of this is that it keeps the soil inside, because we also need to make sure that the resistivity of the soil inside, the earth mat we need to keep it low. So the presence of this, even if in a sunny day, it will somehow control evaporation, the rate of evaporation, and because of that the soil inside remains wet, irrespective of weather condition, and that maintains the conductivity of the soil inside. The conductivity remains high and resistivity remain low, and that is what is required for a good earthing. All right. And another thing is, when we talk about power substation, you'll see lots of we use a transformer there. As you can see, that is the transformer, and then the reactor also at some locations, and these use that insulating oil, the transformer oils. And as you know, the transformer oil, there is always chances of spillage, and when it's spilled, there is also chance of being there is a chance of getting caught in a fire. So when you keep these gravel, they actually don't allow the oil to stay on the surface, and because of that it protects from incidences of fire hazards and all. So it's always important to keep gravel. So that's why stone or gravel is provided to protect from fire when oil spillage takes place. And also that our transformer there, because these are big transformer, or when you talk about reactor, these are vibrating machines. They always vibrate. So in order to compensate the vibration, or in other words to absorb the vibration, we are using these gravels. Had cement been used here, because of vibration, then it will crack, and ultimately that may not be good for a substation. But since we are using gravel, irrespective of how vibration or because of earthquake also, then there will be no damage to the substation, because ultimately they absorb, no matter how much is the vibration. And also one thing that these we talk about that snakes, lizards, insects, unwanted things, they'll not come here, because they will come only if food is there. I mean, even for snake also, he'll find it difficult to slither on the surface. So because entry of such objects may lead to unwanted short circuits, and then ultimately ending up disturb the protection system. So they'll not come here. So that's why the presence of, or the why we're keeping this gravel is also to protect snakes or insects or lizards, whatever, to come here. They'll not come here. So because food is also not available, if vegetation is there, then they'll come. But since there is no food, insects and all will not come. So this is how the importance of keeping gravels in a substation. It helps us a lot, and this is also kept, as you can see, in railway track also. Mostly they use this, and in some even hospitals also nearby, to reduce the vibration, they're keeping this gravel. You can use in your house also. I mean, it looks good, and it looks aesthetic also. When you look from the top, it has lots of advantages. So just like in our substation, you can use that for your compound also, your house premises. So that's all for today.